Go ahead, Steve.
He's ready.
Hello?
Welcome to the Water and Sewer Committee. It's January 23rd, 2024, present today. I have Public Works Director Troy Kruger, City Attorney Paul Jensen, Finance Officer Chandra Phillips, Water Superintendent Mark Leibrick, and Councilman Justin Schuyler, soon to be joined by Councilman Austin Clent. We can wait for Austin if you'd like before we take off and start ripping away. There he is. All right, gentlemen, take us away. Calgon, take us away.
It's
Early.
the time of the year.
Unknown caller.
All phones off?
Citizen of winter. Yeah, I guess what we've been working on is, Matt's been working on, or, Mark has been working on inventory, our water loss report that's due every year. We were brought, the Rural Water came in, Danny Ayers showed up here about a month ago, and he had a program. He made us aware that we do have some rural development loans, and that rural development does require this, it's a vulnerability assessment program, so Mark has been working on that. That's completed, but the pool, I called the guy that we got a quote from to paint the pool. He was curious if we were just going to paint the pool or if we were gonna do any structural stuff. And he was gonna send me an updated quote. He didn't get that to me today, so I told him at this time we'd probably stick with what we budgeted, which was like $40-some thousand to paint the pool. That'll have to get a signature on it for him to come and do that, so we'll have to get quotes and all that. What else do I got? So, I guess this is something that's, Mark has brought to my attention, and I think we've talked about it in the past. I'm not gonna use any names, but, in Mark's department, he does not have a foreman. One of the problems that we're running into in that department is the state of South Dakota requires, our personnel in the water and sewer department to be certified under the state, either in water or in wastewater. So there's several different areas that those guys get, that they can test out in, and the city pays up to eight bumps, I believe, for water and sewer. So there's water collections, water treatment, water distribution. Help me out, Mark. And anyways, there's same in sewer. There's collections, treatment, distribution. And then you can go as high as a class 4 in all of those categories. Currently, as we sit right now, I hold the most certifications, and I'm maxed out on all my certifications. Second is Mark, and he's got all but a couple of his certifications. Matt has all but 2, and Ricky has like 3 total certifications. But what we're running into is the foreman's pay is $24.04. We actually have we have an employee that's making $24.07. He would take a 3-cent pay cut to be a foreman. So
That's not the,
Talk about this on camera.
this is our pay structure. We're not talking about
I was
individuals.
going to say, let's just withhold the names and talk about the position.
So this isn't unique to this situation. at all. In the city of Winter before, we have had somebody that was not leadership, that their rates were actually above or right at. And they actually took the position, elevated position, but there was actually no rate increase at all. That's just what happens with the certification. I will tell you, for years, I've looked at the water and sewer, and everybody goes, the rate scale or for that department is low. But what we've never done is taken a look at all the certifications that take place. With the certifications through layer 4, that puts that position, which is fine, but it ends up being almost 20% above the starting scale. And it's not reflective of compared against other areas. And it may actually be more than that once you take the 2.5 to 2.5 to 2.5. This is something that it has happened.
We've never asked anyone to take a pay cut, though.
Not a pay cut.
We hire them at their current rate.
Correct. But that's part of the elevation process. I leave that to you to discuss with council individually, and then when you get it to full council. But the precedence has already been set in the city of Winter, so you know.
So I guess there's a couple things to keep in mind. The water and sewer somewhat mirrors the electrical department in the aspect that those guys have to have that certification to keep that position. So
What's the top certification that we have to have in the city of Winter? We're a class 2?
no, we're class.
We're class 2.
We have one class 2. It's water treatment.
Minimum water distribution, water collections are class 2.
Yeah.
The other treatments are 1, and lagoons are
So how does the class 4 versus us being a class 2? You're a class 4, you're class 3 with almost all the 4s.
class 2. I have exactly what the state requires for the city of Winter.
Okay.
We got class 1 treatment, water treatment, class 2 distribution, class 2 collection, and lagoons. Troy, he has class 2s and everything.
Plus class 3.
No, when I moved to Winter, my class 3s and 4s did not,
Transfer.
I did not get reciprocity from Kansas back to South Dakota. So I had to take everything over. I've held them, but I no longer have them.
Thank you.
But I have class 2s in everything that we pay, the bumps that we pay, the city, this has been in a city policy since I've started, is that they will pay you up to a 2 in those and no higher. So we pay 2% for each bump. So it's 2% on whatever your current rate of pay is. You get 2% on top of that per bump. I guess and like I was saying, that the state requires us to have those licenses. So kind of like the electrical department, if you don't, and it's right in the water and sewer job application, if you don't pass a certification test within 12 months period of time, then we have to let you go. So, or at least attempt. But I think the last time I redid that, we have to get at least one certification out of them in that 12-month time. Otherwise, we have to let that person go. They're no longer eligible to be in that department. So that's something to keep in mind. I guess if you were going to structure it on a, kind of like the state does, class 1s are, I'm not, they're obviously, they're your easiest test to pass in water and sewer. Maybe it'd be, if somebody, I'm just throwing ideas out there to, make that position more lucrative, or give a bigger increase for the class twos or something to that effect. I don't, but it still doesn't fix the problem that those guys aren't gonna take that foreman's position if they're gonna have the added responsibility and just get the same pay. If I'm making the same pay that Austin's making, he's the foreman, so he's the first one that goes out on, if the boss is gone, he makes all the decisions. It's not, I guess if you're gonna have that added responsibility, then I guess with that should probably come a little bit of pay increase.
Like I said, we have precedents where somebody did take that.
Would there be precedents that the Parks Department and the Street Department, when they promoted somebody up to the foreman, they got like a $3.60 raise?
Was that because their wages were lower and then that came up to that spot? Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. That's our pay scale.
Well, that's what we're kind after, is for this guy to get something like they did for moving to that position.
Okay, I understand that, but I've got this guy over here that I had the same precedence with. So you have two scenarios, one here that doesn't meet what you're trying to do, but I did have this one that matches exactly what you're trying to do. This is gonna take some time. I don't wanna make a decision today, but
That wasn't in the public's work area.
no.
Well, I think we have to incentivize at some point. If not, we may not ever fill it.
I'm looking for the starting wage scales.
I don't know that they've been emailed out recently. We did have them in here at the last code enforcement meeting. You still have that? So that might have been, so.
Water and sewer guys start out, they're hired on as, at the same as streets, same as cemeteries, same as parks. So that general labor starting pay scale, everybody starts at the same pay.
But the other departments don't have the certification
Nope,
bumps.
they don't have
your
that opportunity,
department
they don't have the opportunity to go out and get the bumps. But with that department also comes if you can't acquire the bumps, we have to let you go.
So how many, if you're required one bump a year, they could work for 7, 8 years before they're fully certified?
And they don't even, to be fully certified, you don't even need that. Yeah, I mean, like Mark said, he just has the certifications in what the state requires us to have in winter.
Yeah.
So
but-
he
but
only has 6 bumps.
So he could work 6 years, a new employee could work 6 years before they have what's required.
They don't even have to have them all.
So you could actually almost have the opposite situation where they apply for foreman and then start getting their bumps and then get 2.5% on top of their foreman wage too.
I just have to have somebody in that department that is
Yeah.
certified in what the state requires us to do, so we can run so we can operate under this,
Yeah. So if they just, but that's what you said, they have to pass one a year.
well, at least,
Well, just one in the first year, within the first year.
And then after that, they don't have to take any test?
We send them to testing, but like I've got, one guy, I've got 2 set up for this spring, and the other one, I have 1 set up for this spring. So we can do
the reason
one.
that we didn't require them, sometimes it takes, like, some people, it's a test, and it's not,
It's not an easy test.
no, it's not easy. It's, when you get into the twos though, there's guys that it takes them, a couple, 2 or 3 times to pass it, so. And if you do take it, in the state of South Dakota, they have a testing, so if I'm trying to take a wastewater treatment 2, and I go and I take that test and I fail it, I can only take it 2 more times, and then I have to sit out I think it's 18 months or something like that, before I can retest in that specific certification. I know it's at least a year, but I thought when they changed over to the new testing format, that they lengthened that out a little bit, so you kind of, it's a little, you need to pass them. You know, if you're gonna go in and take them, you can't, what they're doing is they're discouraging people from not studying, just walking in the door and then trying to pass them, because you're not gonna pass them. Any other comments on that? I mean, we needed to bring this up. We've talked about this, I know we've talked about this before, and I wanted to get council's opinion on it. Mark's brought it to me several times.
I have to figure something out.
And the goal is to have every department have a foreman, right, Jody?
It is.
Yep. So we need to do something to,
This is the last Public Works Department without a foreman at this time.
okay.
Right now, all of your public works are on the same starting scale, so your foreman and your department head all have the exact same starting wage. And then obviously, the policy says years of experience can come into play when it comes to that too, so you can look into that too, and that has been taken into effect before, but, and then, I think it's all public works, finance office, and code enforcement and dispatch are all on the same starting wage for deputies and foremans and department heads. And then police and corrections are in a little bit higher
When you talk about
because of
them,
their certifications.
those are all on the same starting wage. That is before you take into account any steps or
Correct.
bumps that come from this department because of those
Yep.
testing levels. So at least one way that council could choose
That's
to
what
look
I
at it
was,
would be to.
start him out at the foreman wage and then.
Ron
whatever
Sprinkles.
bump He had, you could go
Right.
ahead and,
That's wasn't the way it was
that wasn't the way it
designed.
was, that was
It was
just.
designed where the foreman would be reflective of the bumps in there almost, yeah.
So the foreman doesn't start, it wouldn't start.
What's the
previous one.
difference in starting wage from no bumps, if you got hired as a foreman or you got hired as
That's why I want the,
general labor?
Foreman's starting wage is $24.04.
And it's
That's just-
$20 and some change for the regular laborer.
Well, I'm gonna go back a little bit. Sandra, you were just saying that the PD and the jail have a higher starting wage
Yes, and,
because
excuse
of
me,
their certifications.
the
That's what we're
PD for
talking
sure,
about.
and then
The
electric is
certifications.
also on a different scale too, based off of union
I'm gonna-
contracts, so I did want to say
Because of
that.
certifications.
we're gonna table this for right now until we can get that wage scale in front of us and take a look at it. We can look at it in 2 weeks, once we've had time to get this to the council, and we can take a look at that and the way it was designed.
Do we want to go to personnel with this next? Or stay in this committee?
Well, I think you want to
Crazy.
stay here right now. Like he says, table it for now, come back in 2 weeks. I think you're going to need to go to personnel, but I think it starts here.
We have half the personnel here.
What? Never mind, Brian.
So,
Too early to talk about budget. There's really nothing been spent or made in the budget, so.
how many meters installed? How many meters have been installed?
We're at 7:15. Just cold weather with the snow removal and stuff we have.
Set you back.
Yeah,
That is over half,
yeah.
because we just looked it up the other day, and there's 1,600 and some change water meters out
So
there.
we're close to that.
We did
Or,
just,
yeah, not over, but right at.
we did just receive a shipment of heads that we've been waiting for.
Yeah.
And then, but we still have not received anything larger than 1.5 inches. We're waiting on a bunch of meters, a bunch of 1.5 and 2 inch meters. They're just, the supply chain's not there right now, but we have quite a few of those that we're waiting on. We have all of our radios now.
We have other radios.
Yes, we got all the radios.
Core and main delivered on those.
We just got, talked to Chad this morning, they are gonna be in town on February 8th for the FlexNet training. Charles will be here with them.
Is that something Brandy needs to be part of?
That's what I need to find out, I think so.
I don't have anything.
Okay.